everybody. I would love for us all to welcome Sarah Peterson, who is faculty here at College of Alameda. She's actually spoke last semester as it was gratitude, right? It's about gratitude. And now we've got her today for meditation. So please welcome Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm so deeply grateful that you are each here joining me. It really warms my heart to see dear colleagues here supporting me. And thanks, everyone, for joining, and online as well. We just had an experience that is really common in life where the unexpected happens, right? So, we had technical difficulties, we had traffic on the way here. The world happens, and we don't feel like we can stop it, right? And so this is really the gift that meditation provides, or as it's entitled, the healing power of meditation. How to remain the eye of the storm, and not get caught up in the drama of personalities, of egos, of the unexpected, of the overwhelm. And so I think we just started off perfectly. So let's take a moment to ground ourselves. We will have a guided meditation that'll last longer later, and depending on time, it was going to be 20 minutes, but based on starting later and the integrity of timing, we'll gauge our meditation time based on how much time we have remaining. So we will start with a little bit of grounding now. It's important to ground ourselves, get centered and present in our bodies. Our heads are everywhere, our thoughts, our emotions are everywhere. And so it's an important practice to simply check in with ourselves and feel our bodies, okay? So if you feel comfortable, uncrossing your legs, both feet flat on the floor, it's a posture of grounding, right? Kind of relaxed, natural posture. We want our energy and our chi flowing. We can imagine being grounded by the earth and absorbing the energy from the core of the earth. So if you feel comfortable with both feet flat on the floor, if you're sitting in a chair, you can, if you're at home and on the floor or on your bed, just relax your body. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, I'm going to invite you to do so. Notice how you're feeling. Pay attention to where you might be holding tension in your body. A lot of times we tend to hold tension in a particular area of our bodies out of habit. It might be your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your solar plexus. These are kind of common areas that people tend to hold their tension. Wherever you're holding tension, if you are, just notice it. If your mind starts to wander, it's fine. No need to judge it. Simply bring your attention back to your breath. No need to change your breath, alter your breath. Just notice its natural flow as it is now. Notice how it feels to be in the stillness, in the silence. And when you feel comfortable and ready, bring your attention gently back to the room. And slowly open your eyes when you're ready. So this is something that we can do wherever we go, because we might ask ourselves, what is meditation? And meditation in essence is awareness, consciousness. I am the awareness that is aware, that is aware. That is a quote from Eckhart Tolle, who's a spiritual teacher. I am the awareness that is aware that it's aware. So we are pure awareness. And we bring this awareness wherever we go. Or there's another spiritual teacher, John Kabat-Zinn. He says, wherever you go, there you are. So we can practice this checking in, this grounding, wherever we go, right? It's a perfect time when you're in line at the grocery store, at a traffic stop, before you start a meeting, before you meet a friend. It's a time to ground ourselves. That way, a lot of us, our minds are disconnected from our bodies and our emotions, right? I've had that feeling many times before, and I'm sure you have as well. And so a quick check-in, a quick connecting to our breath, we feel more embodied. So we might ask ourselves, what is meditation? We answer that with pure awareness. We're enhancing our awareness. We're bringing our attention. We're waking up to this present moment. And so, what is the, she has my note. There are many health benefits to meditation, right? And we're going to talk about these benefits. There's physical health benefits, there's emotional health benefits, and there's psychological health benefits. And then we're going to talk about the spiritual health benefits. So I think a lot of people in mainstream America, and perhaps internationally in the world, are really interested in meditation for the health benefits, right? So for physical benefits, do you mind if I use that?
Oh, yeah, I just had to.
Okay, so for physical benefits, we have lower heart rate, right? We're calmer, our nervous systems are calmer. As a result, we have increased metabolism, a natural byproduct of feeling less stressed physically. We tend to lose weight, right? Because we hold on to the weight due to increased stress, right? I have my nifty health benefits here. Let's see. So we manage our anxiety, increased energy, balanced brain chemistry. We're wiring our nervous system for calm. As a result, we're reducing our inflammation. We're supporting pain management, and we improve our sleep quality, right? So who doesn't want to sleep better? And when we sleep better, we feel more refreshed. We're engaging interpersonally, more connected with other people. So, of course, there are great physical benefits. How many of you in the room would love to enhance all of these physical benefits? Yes, exactly, right? So then let's talk about the emotional benefits of meditation. We get to feel calmer, right? Like we have so many emotions. And what's interesting is on the way here, I was having a conversation, and it was like, our emotions can get the best of us, right? The things that happen in life, we just, like, we can get a call from anybody, a colleague, a friend, a family member, and then there we go, our emotions go, right? Or in a traffic stop, or what have you. So our emotions tend to just go and get the best of us. So in meditation, and in spiritual practice, we often ask, who's driving the cart? Are your emotions and your thoughts driving the cart, or are you driving the cart? And when I say you, I'm talking about the authentic you, your true self, or your real capital R self, right? So we have a capital S self, that's our authentic self. So Carl Jung, Abraham Maslow, these famous psychologists called it the capital S self. The lower S self is a more egoic or personalized, right, self. So when we're in these high state kind of emotional interactions, right, who's driving the cart of your own life? Who's at the steering wheel? Is it your authentic self that's grounded, connected to love and peace, right, all of your universal qualities? Or is it your personality that's habituated, right? Based on childhood patternings to react and behave a certain way. So emotionally, the beauty of meditation is that we get to, when we're sitting still, when we practice sitting still, we get to feel our emotions, notice our emotions, and actually embrace our emotions. So often, emotionally, we're running away from our emotions. We turn to substances, people, addictions, what have you, right? To grasp for things that we feel will make us feel more complete. So we're constantly grasping for something outside of ourselves, when in fact, what we're really seeking is our own affirmation, our own acceptance, our own love. So in meditation, while we're sitting still and seeing like the show and the drama of our lives unfold in front of us, we can imagine like this whiteboard here. Like when we're actually meditating, projecting our thoughts and our emotions onto the whiteboard. And in fact, we are able to do that. Because we are the awareness that is aware, we start to disidentify with our emotions and our thoughts. Most of the times we're so identified with our emotions and our thoughts, we act on every emotion or thought, right? We're like these impulsive beings that have no dominion over our lives and our minds. Does that make sense? For me, I'm about self-mastery. I want to choose how I live, and I want to choose where I'm going in my life. I want to choose how I show up in this world. And to have that level of choice requires dominion of the mind and the heart. And meditation allows us to do so because we get to watch the show. And in fact, we get to love the show because all of these challenges that we have, we're so used to running away from that we end up having unhealthy, unproductive behaviors. We never get to really move through and grow through those defensive patternings that limit us and habituated. We don't get to be the essence and fullness of who we really are, that authentic, big, capital S self, right? And so through our meditation practice, we actually get to love everything that we see and everything that we experience, which is really new for us. And in fact, sitting still is the simplest thing we can do. It's actually the hardest thing we can do because most of us are scared to death to face ourselves. We're scared to death to just simply be with ourselves. That's why when the Staff Development Committee asked if there would be music today, I actually requested no music because that's just another level of distraction. And I'm not saying guided meditation and meditation with music doesn't have its qualities. I myself am a huge fan of Joe Dispenza, and I do his guided meditations periodically. I just don't make it a regular habit because really the beauty and the gift and the healing power of meditation is in the stillness, because that's where we really get to hone in our intuitive capacities. We get to listen to what is called the still small voice within. And if there's music and words, we're still supporting the static. Does that make sense? So the emotional benefits of meditation are that we get to embrace and love it all, which helps free us from the habit of running away from it all, right? Does that make sense? So we've talked about the physical health benefits. We've talked about the emotional health benefits. Now let's talk about the mental, psychological benefits. So preceding emotions, in the world of psychology, there's a theory that thoughts precede our emotions. We have the thought first, and then we feel the emotion. Does that make sense? There's also another theory where you have the emotion first, and then the thought happens afterwards. But we're going to look at, many psychologists support the idea that the thought happens first. I'm worthless. I'm never going to succeed. The litany of self-sabotaging thoughts goes on and on. What's so beautiful about meditation and healing about meditation is that we have this mental chatter, often self-destructive, that is going on and on and on, and we don't notice it. It just keeps playing. And what happens is that these thoughts affect how we feel, right? And so how all of a sudden we're not in a good mood, we're pissed off at so-and-so, and we have no idea why. Because what happens is we wake up in the morning, we pick up our phones, we take on the world right away, right? There's a lower common denominator. Society is pumping out lowest common denominator, right? And when we pick that up first thing in the morning on our phones, we'll review. I'll propose the idea of perhaps not doing that as a way to practice self-care and tuning in to that capital S authentic self first, aligning first with source. And most of us pick up the world first, right? And so our thoughts are going, and we don't even realize what thoughts are going through our minds. And we don't realize the power of our thoughts, because now not only are our thoughts affecting our emotions, then our emotions affect our behavior. So we snap at our colleagues, we snap at our family members, we might take it out on our children, then we limit our own behavior, because if I'm thinking less than positive things about myself, like I'm worthless, I'm never going to succeed, I'm a failure, then I might not try something out that's new. I might not stretch myself. I might not have the courage to extend myself, right? Get out of my comfort zone. So we basically, Joe Dispenza and other quantum theorists and psychologists talk about, we basically wake up in the morning and we hit repeat. So you can guarantee what your life is going to be like tomorrow, because you know what your life is like today. And if we change no variable, we have no other input, it's going to stay the same. So your tomorrow is guaranteed unless we put in new input. And that is the beauty of meditation. It gives us the opportunity to put in a new input. And the new input is basically the spiritual benefits of meditation. And that's what I really want to talk about here. And that's where the juice of the healing power of meditation is in the spiritual benefits. And when we get the spiritual benefits, everything else in our lives reflects those spiritual benefits. Does that make sense? So the spiritual benefits, I want to say first and foremost, it connects us to our deeper self, right? That authentic, capital S self. It also connects us to what we can call source, the universe, universal potential, Mother, Father, God, Allah, or in this presentation, I'll mainly use the word God, or divinity, or the divine presence, the quantum field, universal energy. There's countless words, and I know a lot of us might have hangovers based on our upbringings and certain religious, sectors. With the word God. It's just a simple 3-letter word. I will use it not to represent an old white man in the sky who is punishing us. God, for me, represents a loving energy that's everywhere present and that's even within. And so for you, if the word God or source or divinity or the divine presence doesn't work, just find a word that works for you, because what we're talking about is energy, the quantum field. It's everywhere and we are it. And so understanding that meditation connects us, aligns us to this universal energy, and in fact, reminds us that we are this universal energy. And so everything God is health, God is abundance, God is beauty, God is intelligence, God is trust, God is truth, God is peace, God is freedom, God is wholeness. Everything God is, I am. I am the I am. And in meditation, what happens is we go, like the first few minutes, and when we practice, we can see this. And even as someone who's been meditating regularly for quite some time each day, doesn't matter. The mind is so busy. And so a lot of us will say, I can't meditate. Meditation is not for me because my mind won't let me meditate. I'm not meant for meditation. I've heard that with a lot of students before. It's not that meditation is not meant for us. What it is that we now get to see how busy the mind already is. We just weren't aware of it. Does that make sense? So we just get to see what's going on in the show in our minds that we weren't aware of. Because remember, meditation is like we're waking up to the moment, we're waking up to ourselves, and we're becoming more aware. Because we are awareness itself, right? So God is all of these qualities, right? Infinite qualities, because God is everything. And now in meditation, we get to settle down beneath the mental chatter and the emotional, throes that we go through. Underneath all of that is a stillness and a silence and a peace. Sean says amen. 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 So we get to that stillness, and we get to marinate there. And what's beautiful about meditation is that it's called a spiritual practice for a reason, and it's the most potent spiritual technology. That and prayer, right, are the most potent spiritual technologies. Because when we tap into that essence and wake up that essence that is already within us and radiate it, then remember every life structure we talked about, right? The finances, the health, the relationships, the career, right? All transform. Because now I'm saying to myself, instead of I'm worthless and feeling bad about it and then having the habits, like, oh no, I am abundance itself, what? And then that now affects the energy that we feel and radiate, and then we draw to us, like in the gratitude workshop last spring, right? Then we draw to us. And not only that, we're not necessarily interested in what we draw to us. Now we get to bring that wherever we go. That we're not waiting for our circumstances to change for us. And that is also the power of meditation, right? Because so many of us, when we hit repeat, we're hitting repeat as victims because we're waiting for life to change. We're waiting for other people to change before our lives are different, before we feel differently about ourselves and our lives. We're waiting for the affirmation from so-and-so to tell us how great we are when we actually are not. The truth is, no matter what anybody says or does, will never make us happy until we're happy with ourselves. Amen. Until we accept ourselves. Right? So that's what we're actually seeking. So when we sit down in meditation and we're accepting the emotions and the feelings and I love it all. The parts of me that feel so ugly and sinful, all of it, I'm going to love it all. The regret, I'm going to love it all. Then we become the silent witness, the loving witness that we always wanted. And in the field of psychology, we could say we're loving our inner child, right? That inner child of us that's always longed for acceptance and love, unconditional love, right, from our parent or caregiver or whomever. We get to give it to ourselves. And when we give it to ourselves, something magical happens. We no longer are attached to other people giving it to us. We're free. And then that's also what's miraculous about this work. When we're free and we're not grasping for it outside of ourselves, it actually freaking comes to us. Amen. Sean's up in the front of the choir. Do you know, it's really miraculous, and that's the healing power of meditation. It transforms our lives because when we're free and when we know our wholeness, it doesn't mean we don't have worry, doubt, and fear. It's just now we're interested, we're willing to surrender the fear. We're interested to see this differently, to accept peace, right? Even for a moment. And then that changes our nervous system. Like, whoa, I'm actually breathing more deeply. Wow, okay, I can relax my shoulders. Whoa, okay, I'm seeing the person in front of me more clearly, which means then I get to respect them and treat them more lovingly, right? It's a ripple effect. So the spiritual benefits are the real juice of meditation. The health, the finances, the relationships are all byproducts of us knowing our oneness with God, our oneness with the supreme energy. Does that make sense?
Lots of sense.
Lots of sense. I love having you up in here, Sean. Okay. There's a part of me that wants to look at my PowerPoint and see what else I want to say, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to check my clock for time. Oh, okay, perfect. So we're going to, I'm going to, 104, huh? I would love to do the video. We're going to watch a video right now.
You got them on?
I don't know where to put it on here.
So I have the video. Can I play it from here?
Yeah, and you have to hit, you'll hit share.
Okay. Okay, so I have to, okay, sorry. Can you, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. You know, I think we can read, so we have enough time for the meditation. I'll read from, it's okay, Marla, I think we'll do without it, yeah. If anybody's interested in the video, you can email me and I can send you the video. How about that? So this is one of my spiritual teachers, Michael Bernard Beckwith. It's a book called Life Visioning. He has some really, how do I want to say it? Some clear instructions about meditation. So this is called Getting Started. 2 essentials for practicing any meditation technique are sincerity of intention and surrender of the results of your efforts. By surrender is meant that whether you label your meditation to have been good, so-so, or poor, you remain non-attached, non-judgmental. Additionally, the results of your meditation don't always manifest during or immediately following meditation practice. You may receive an insight, feel a sense of overwhelming peace, or even agitation long after you're sitting, all of which are byproducts of meditation. The point is that we don't practice meditation simply to relax or become peaceful, although that will occur. Its purpose is not to strengthen our ability to use the laws governing the universe, yet this will happen. We also learn how to more patiently and skillfully weather challenging times, but neither that is meditation's goal. The ultimate purpose of meditation is to awaken to your inherently enlightened consciousness. You don't create enlightened consciousness, you find what already is and always has been there, just waiting to be discovered within you. So sincerity of intention to wake up translates into including meditation in your daily routine. And earnestness about waking up means that you will be faithful to your daily practice of meditation regardless of how you feel, whether your meditation is going great or it's all over the place. Perhaps while engaged in sitting practice, anger, fear, shame, insecurity, the agitation of a restless mind arises and you think, what's the use? I'm getting nowhere. Obviously, meditation doesn't work. Not for me anyway. We talked about this earlier, right? The ego is results-oriented, and it will encourage you to stop whatever it feels it is failing, hurling insults at your obvious ineptitude. Don't resist it. Laugh at it. Sometimes awareness is present, and sometimes it's not. That doesn't mean anything is wrong with your practice. For a few moments, you may be fully present and aware, and then the mind wanders. So what? Surrender the ego's need to do it right. Surrender will deliver its own gifts, but it's senseless to determine what you think they are or should be. So this next section is called Identifying the Meditation Practice for You. When searching for a meditation practice, the one that best suits your nature and temperament will click. It's important to point out that occasionally the mind endeavors to trick us into believing that, quote unquote, golf is my meditation, or quote unquote, when I'm gardening, I practice meditation. Once you have made sufficient advancement in your practice, you do develop the ability to carry the after effects of meditation into your activities. However, while you may be in a highly focused or uplifted state during an activity, it is not the same as what unfolds while you sit in the stillness of meditation with the purposefulness of awakening. So it goes on, and basically the essence is that ideally 20 minutes is best. Research has shown that 20 minutes is really what's needed to change the brain chemistry and the nervous system. I'm a Course in Miracles student, and in the course it says even 5 minutes of meditation, right? They say, like, before you touch the doorknob, right, tune in. So we're going to practice meditation now. It's 1:10 basically. I think we'll do, I can be the timekeeper. We'll set the time for 10 minutes. And I initially was going to do 20 minutes so we could reap the full benefits. But it's nice to practice meditation because we get to see exactly what we just covered, right? The show. But I want to say that we should each be proud of ourselves for being here, because that means you've pierced the veil of the ego. The ego will keep us out of the room. The ego will keep us from meditating, right? Because that's the last thing that the ego wants, is to be in touch with ourselves and our God, our magnificent nature, right? That's the last thing the ego wants for us, right? So that we've all pierced the veil of, like, at least we're here, we're willing. So after the 10 minutes of meditation, I would love to, for those on the Zoom room as well as in person, we can share what came up for us. Yeah? Okay. So I will grab a chair here. So again, similar to what was suggested earlier, and for those that are new in the room, if you could please sit in a relaxed, comfortable position, arms uncrossed, legs uncrossed, both feet on the floor. And I will guide the meditation, and there will also be points of stillness. There are mudras, which is a word in Sanskrit that, like, are hand positions, so they mean different things. So, you know, thumb and middle finger, I believe, is like receptivity. Some people do index finger and thumb. Some people do, and sometimes I do this as well, hands flat on the lap with open hands as like receptivity as well. Whatever feels comfortable for you. So again, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, I invite you to do so. You might pay attention to the sounds that you hear in the room. Noticing your breath. You might also notice that the mental chatter might have already begun. Just allow it. Here we're practicing non-judgmental awareness, simply being the loving witness of it all. You might check in with your heart. How's your heart feeling now? Any tension perhaps that was there before? Just doing a body scan. Where in my body might I be holding some strain? Just noticing it, allowing it to be, just as it is. I'm here to wake up to my glorious nature. See if you can say that to yourselves quietly. I'm here to wake up to the truth of who I am. And even saying these truth statements to yourself, might you notice any mental chatter afterwards? Disbelief, doubt, worry. Just allow it all. Notice if there's any habit that you tend to do in the silence or the stillness. And can we even accept that? If there is some sort of challenge in your life, health issue, relationship issue, financial issue, career issue, whatever it is, see if you can send that part of you love. You might even talk to that part of you like a third person. I'm here for you. You're safe with me. Whatever comes up naturally for you. How could you shower this part of you with love so that it feels completely safe? There's a saying that whatever arises is coming up because it's on its way out. Can we allow ourselves to just feel the fullness of it, whatever it is, without pushing it away, repressing it, distracting ourselves? Can we just be the loving witness for it? You might also tune into your heart and breathe through your heart. Place your attention on your heart. You might even practice plugging in some of those God qualities. What's a quality that you're open to embodying and accepting for yourself? What are you willing to say to yourself? And then radiate it. You might choose multiple God qualities. Plug them into your heart, to your cells, to your body temple. You're the only one that can give yourself permission to feel and say these things to yourself. And the feeling tone is critical. The thought is one aspect. Allow yourself to feel it. And sometimes that requires us getting out of our own ways. So with this God quality fully embodied, saturating ourselves, when you're ready, please gently bring your attention back to the room. And open your eyes when you're ready. So how was that for you guys? Does anybody want to share what came up for you? What was the experience like? Andrew, Drew?
Yeah, I could just feel my body, edges, places, and just the weight of it and the space of it.
So for those on the Zoom room, Drew is saying he feels his body, the edges and the space of it. Awesome. Anything else, Drew?
Well, I noticed, seems silly, but where my foot was and how my foot was positioned, I didn't notice it at first.
Awesome.
It felt good.
It felt good to...
Just be in this space, and I found it sort of beautiful in a way to be in a quiet space with other people.
It's it's really beautiful meditating with other people. I rarely do it myself, but yeah, there's a synergy and energy, connection. Thanks, Drew. Anyone else? Yes.
Took my mind off of whatever was going on today. Weren't we in a place of peace somewhere else?
Exactly.
Not what was going on before I came here. Took me to another place.
Exactly. That is really the power of meditation, that you got to feel the peace underneath it all, right? And so that peace you have within you, like our true nature is peace. It just gets muddled with all the activity. And so we can always return to that peace if we give ourselves permission to, this was just 10 minutes, Yeah, it was just 10 minutes. So it's a skill that we can take wherever we go. Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah.
Well, I just want to add also that, it's so important, also Michael Beckwith's words too, about what comes in, don't stay attached to it. Don't go, oh my God, I'm just a horrible meditator. Just let it go. It's what it comes and it fleets. It usually doesn't stay stuck if you're trying to really just be present and do meditation. You can, if you just let it fleet, it will fleet.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's some commitment to meditation, right, or persistence. Like and I feel like it's symbolic of how we live our lives. If we give up at the first sign of quote unquote defeat, right? Like, so the mental chatter or the egoic mind will say like, like this is boring, or like this, I have so many things to do, or you don't have time for this, right? Whatever the litany of things that the ego wants to say to distract us from feeling the sense of peace that she talked about, then if we just give up, it's also how we deal with life, right? So what happens in our meditation practice happens in life, right? Do we go with every emotional impulse? Then that's how we are in life. If we stick with it, then we can see through seeming obstacles in life as well. And you, Marla, you brought up a great word of trying, and I think the beauty of meditation is that it allows us to transcend from, or to shift from surviving and trying and efforting everything, because in our world, in the world of form, we're taught to work hard, to struggle, right? Like it's a dog-eat-dog world, right? That kind of thing. And through meditation, we learn an effortlessness and an ease and a grace and a gentleness. And like, oh, wow, when I tune my own tuning fork, I can allow it to come to me. I don't have to strive and achieve and grasp and do all these tactics that the egoic personality wants to do. And so because we are God in drag, or God personified, God is everything, God's peace, God's harmony, God's love. It's like, oh, and I am those things. Well, then I just radiate them. I bring them wherever I go. I get to live this way. I get to choose how I want to show up in the world. I get to choose how I behave. And so we get to choose ease and grace. And that, for me, it's important to surrender the efforting and the trying. It doesn't mean I don't, quote unquote, work hard or do diligence or all those things. It's kind of what we call in the spiritual world as right action, that in the moment, because we're waking up to the present moment, we're in meditation, we're enhancing our capacity to listen to the still small voice within, aka God, right, strengthening our intuition. Then it's like, oh, I'm listening for divine guidance. What is mine to do now? And so often our actions come with effortless effort or this ease and grace because they're guided by God. So it's in the moment, this is like, oh, I was told to go right instead of left, and magically, right was like, took me down this path that I had no idea. Like if we were going based on the habituated mind, and we always go left, then we recreate the world that's based on human conditioning. But when we tune our fork to guidance, our antenna to guidance, it's like, oh, whoa, that's where our magical healing happens. Because now we enter the realm of synchronicity. We develop the trust of the unknown, where the unknown, right? The quantum field is infinite potential. And so, whoa, I'm transcending the limited mind and habituated patterns of thought, thinking, feeling, behavior, and now I'm opening myself to the quantum field? Wow. So it's like this whole creative playground. So when I heard your word trying, I was like, oh, I personally am interested in not trying. Thank you for sharing, Marla. Anyone else? Jeff.
I was actually, moved by like this interaction between you and Marla, because actually I felt like, I'd say for the first like 3 or 4 minutes, I had difficulty kind of getting into a space where I was relaxing. I was thinking about all the things that like, were going on that I had to do, and then I was thinking about, why does my knee hurt? Like just the strangest things that were happening. I felt like I was having this kind of inner battle, and it just kind of, at some point, I kind of was able to let go a little bit, and kind of like, I felt like I sunk a little bit into like a relaxed kind of state, if that makes sense. Like I actually felt like I was, and that was nice. But I was trepidatious for the first like 4 minutes or so, like I'm not doing this right,
Right. Well, good for you. No, of course, Jeff, but good for you for acknowledging that, because that is huge that we can even acknowledge ourselves. Like most of the time, we're not acknowledging ourselves. We're putting ourselves down. It's amazing how we talk to ourselves, right? So even the act of acknowledging, this is challenging for me. I was having that is powerful. Like, wow, Jeff is acknowledging himself, affirming himself. So that already is beautiful and powerful. The next step is, thank you. The next step is that you noticed, what stands out to me is that you noticed your knee, right? And it's like, how many of us have aches and pains, like, and then when I suggested like tuning into your heart, like how's your heart feeling right now? Like a lot of us are not even paying attention to how our heart's feeling, right? So we have these things happening, we just don't slow down enough to notice, right? And so then when we start to slow down and notice, for me, I used to live a very busy life and always be on the run. I'm sure I was running from everything. But for me, it feels challenging to live that busy now, because living slower feels more natural for me. Because I want to be present with myself and I want to be present with other people. And when I start to get busy again, it's like I kind of lose touch with myself in a way. Does that make sense? So I'm feeling embodied, like we talked about earlier, like feeling of embodiment. It's like when I'm feeling embodied, connecting to myself, it's like, how do I relate to other people now? I really get to connect. So this is where our relationships transform, because we're being intimate with ourselves, because we're acknowledging ourselves, because we're noticing things about ourselves, now we become more mindful of other people. We notice things about other people. We notice other things about our environment. We know, we connect more intimately with other people. We want intimacy a lot of us crave intimacy. We have to first have intimacy with ourselves. Does that make sense? We want large sums of money. Okay, great. Are you willing to say, I'm worth this? Right? I'm abundance itself. I'm so much more than the money. And abundance shows up in all these realms. Wow. Does that make sense? Am I willing to notice? Am I willing to acknowledge? And so this is why I asked in the meditation, what are you willing to say to yourself? You're the only one who can determine what script you're playing in there. And best believe our thoughts are powerful. They hold energy, right? And we're in a quantum field. What are we radiating? And we say we want certain things, but we're not willing to have our thoughts match what we say we want. So do we really want it? Or do we want the drama? Are we habituated to complain? Are we habituated to be victims? Is that what we really want? Do we really want attention? Right? We know about, like in psychology, kids act all the time. Is it really the candy bar? Or is it that they want their parents' attention? Do you know what I mean? Let's be real. So what do we really want? And can we plug that in to our consciousness? Can we plug it into our heart? Can we plug it into ourselves? And then can we feel it? And can we then act it? We got to play the part before the part comes. We're all waiting for the part. You're the actor. We're the directors of our own show. We can't wait We got to be it. And then it shows, right? Isn't there a quote, something like, what's luck is like opportunity meets preparedness. So I'm preparing to be the star of my show, right? And then when the role comes, I'm ready for it. And I'm inviting each of you to be the star of your own show because you're worth it. You already are it. I'm just here to remind all of us to remember that we are already love. We're already abundance. We're already peace, wholeness, and freedom. Can we remember it? And we have friends, we have books, guided meditations, classes. There's a plethora of resources, not to teach us, but to remind us of the truth of who you already are. Thanks for joining me.
Just very quickly, those of you also in Zoom land, Sarah's part of our speaker series, and we have 2 more sessions for the fall speaker series. Thank you all for being here, especially those of you in person. We had a great turnout in person. Thank you for being here in Zoom land. And again, let's give Sarah a wonderful round of applause. And always a beautiful message from Sarah Peterson. That's it for us here. If you want to get a massage, our 2 masseuses are in the back. If you happen to be at College of Alameda and you want a massage, come on over. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next speaker series. Thank you. Thank you.